That's it. Let me get rid of the dog.
Not permanently.
Well, welcome to Avini Vibes. Tonight is Thursday, June 13th, 2024. I've been giving that little dog of mine, plus relief, and the dog is like back to life. And so I'm so excited about our products that we're going to share with you tonight. But welcome to Avini Vibes. My name is Christine Rolando, and I want to thank Carol Witt for always being here and helping in the technical aspect of it. And I want to thank Chip for being with us. Chip, if you didn't come, if you came a little early, you would have got the tour we had tonight. So thank you, Chip, for sharing the tour. And it just gives us so much insight of the beautiful nature that you're surrounded by. Just so you know, we're here at Avini Vibes tonight to answer your questions, to educate one another, to encourage and uplift one another. Remember, we do not make any medical claims, so please remember that. No medical claims here. We're here to share these amazing products. And I missed y'all last week, had the opportunity to go to Carnegie Hall and see Hauser, the two cellists. It was absolutely amazing. But you know what? You have to take Energy Plus if you go to Carnegie Hall at 8 o'clock at night, because that's a little late for us, but we did it. And we just had an amazing time. So I missed y'all, but I know Carol and Chip held the fort down. So thank you for that. And we will take questions. We'll get you out of here about 10 after 8 or 8:15 tonight. And we're here to, just raise your hand as we get into the question portion of it. But that's enough said from me. And I want to thank you tonight for being here. But I want to thank our special guest. Glenna, you can unmute and join us tonight. Russel is an Avini Emerald and soon to be Diamond. So thank you, girl.
I'm this close.
Ooh, that a girl. Well, we're gonna put you on as Carol. We'll change the view and let Glenna have the floor if you would, and we're gonna hear from you. We want to hear all about your Avini journey, please. So welcome.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here. My journey started a long time ago. When I was young, my mom was given a diagnosis of the doctor told her to go sit on the couch the rest of her life. And she was 32 years old. She said, I don't think so. And she remembered going to the mountains and picking flowers with her Native American aunties to help her mom's heart. And her mom had a hole in her heart. And if she could have lived 10 years longer, they could have fixed it. But back then they didn't know how. So we always looked for nutritional, natural things to help heal our bodies. So that day was the first day I was introduced, I was about 10, to the health food store. From then on, I was in love with health. And we grew up butchering our own meat. We had our own cow. It was a great life. And at 19, I fell in love with network marketing. My first business was when I was 12 years old. I was the neighborhood seamstress. And anything anybody needed mending, or if they needed a new tablecloth or somebody needed a dress to go somewhere, I was the girl to call. And I had my own wedding gown business. And then I got married and I continued my seamstress business wherever we went. My husband was in the Air Force. And at 19, I was introduced to network marketing. And my first company was, the vitamins from Canada. I forgot the name of it now. So I've done so many that I sit and listen to people say, have you done this? Have you done this? I counted up. I've been in like 45 health-oriented network marketing companies since I was 19. Wow. And I was always the cutting edge. It was always the cutting edge. And so at 28, I pulled a 185-pound dog off of my daughter. It attacked her from behind and it ripped her from the waist to the armpit. And he picked her up and he was shaking her like she was a rag doll. And I jumped on top. All I could think of was he was digging into her back. So I thought, well, if I get my hands in his mouth, he can't dig into her anymore. And she's on the floor screaming, Mommy, Mommy, I'm dying, I'm dying. And I said, oh, no, you're not. And I jumped on top of him. And then he was throwing us both around the room. And I finally, when the bones in my hands started breaking, I cried out to the Lord. I said, I was thinking in my head, if this is hurting me this bad, how bad is this hurting my baby? And I cried out and said, oh, Lord, make this dog released, and instantly that dog released. And he was, Gal had brought a Tupperware order, and it was right inside our house, and he was on an 8-foot leash, and that dog slid on his butt out over the door jamb out onto the sidewalk. It was like he just, it was amazing. So I picked her up, ran to the phone, and the operator said, hello? I didn't even dial. There was an operator there. The paramedics were there within 10 minutes. And is this, my phone is, okay. My phone's doing weird stuff.
We can
So the
see.
paramedics, we went to the hospital. She was in recovery, reconstructive surgery for 3.5 hours. He nicked her kidney, but he didn't cut it. And so she didn't bleed to death. And I tore inside everywhere. They thought I had abdominal surgery. My scarring is so bad inside. I have 35% blockage on my aorta artery. And they were I ruptured 7 discs in my neck and my back, and they were going to cut my left hand off. Needless to say, I was a mess and suffered many, many years. And in 97, we were introduced to some products that really, really helped me. And that's where we met Marcy and Chip, Little John, and Dave and Valerie and all that gang. And I didn't sleep more than 2.5 hours for 18.5 years until we got into that company and the products. I still sleep on those products. And anyway, we scar really bad, my daughter and I both. And she keloided really bad on her back. She's got a hole in her back, a dent in her back as big as my fist. And when she would, you could see the scarring through her clothes. She has a scar that goes about 12 inches across her back. And then she has another scar up underneath her arm. And you could see the scars through her clothes. And in 2005, my scar on my hand where they did the surgery, they saved my hand. I told them I was not going to live without a hand. And so sorry, I thought I was going to do this at Robin's house on my computer, but I messed the time up. I'm not good with numbers.
Okay.
I thought I had an hour to get there and get on the computer. So I'll try and keep it straight. So my hand was being drawn in. My fingers were being drawn in. I couldn't open my hand. And I had called Robin and my mom both and asked them to pray because I didn't want surgery, because when you have surgery, that just makes more scarring. So they just go remove scar, and then it makes more scar, and then you remove more scar, and it gets bigger all the time. So 2 days later, Robin calls me and says, you have to call Marcy Littlejohn right now. Stop what you're doing. She has something that we need. You need it for your hand. And our friend that actually had introduced the other company to me in 1997, saw Marcy and Chip at the cattle show in Denver and learned about these products. And he called my sister up and said, Marcy and Chip have something that Glenna needs. You need to call her right now. And so he got great help with it. And that's when we were introduced to Cell Defender. It's Cell Defender now, yeah. We're always calling it the different names. From every company, it was different. And within 3 weeks, the scarring started subsiding. And within 6 weeks, it was just a line in my hand, and it's been that way ever since. And so we followed Rick from, our family has had so many miracles. And I ended up with that nerve disease that no painkillers help. In fact, 60 Minutes did a show on it, and they said that 65% of the people that have it commit suicide because the drugs can't touch it. And I just dealt with it naturally. I went to the chiropractor, and I don't like drugs. I don't take drugs. And so I suffered a lot. I go out and put my magnetic mattress pad on the lawn and lay in the sun for years. I did that when I was hurting so bad. So I couldn't be a seamstress anymore. So I ran ranches because you can feed and do cleaning, and then you can rest, and then you feed again at night. And I could check fence whenever I wanted and whenever I could, and I had to still raise my child. And so that's what I did to get me through
Glenna,
it.
I want to ask you,
Ah,
I want to ask you a question. When through this time in this accident, was the pain throughout your whole body, or was it in the hand, or was it everywhere?
everywhere,
Everywhere,
everywhere.
nerve
Yeah,
damage.
I have it everywhere. It didn't just localize. A lot of people don't localize in one spot, but I had it all over because I damaged so many nerves. They actually thought I had a stroke because I ruptured 3 discs in my neck. And so that's why I have that condition. A lot of people have strokes, have that condition. And I didn't know that until my mom had a stroke um in 2009. And the doctor said she has this. And I'm like, I have that. That's what I have. And he said, well, mostly stroke patients do that. So who knows? I was 28, I was really strong. The night before I had surgery, the doctor informed me that my blood work was that of a 16-year-old male athlete. And how did I do that? I was a 28-year-old woman that had a child. And I said, well, I guess I live right. I don't know. I said, we try to be healthy. And he said, his remark was, well, you won't have any health when I get through with you tomorrow. And I had no idea what that meant, but boy, I learned real quick. I had to take so much cortisone in order to get the swelling out of my hand that they gave me the highest legal dosage for a month, and it just ruined my digestion. It ruined my everything, my weight, my everything, my metabolism. And so I've spent the last 40 years repairing that. I could only eat, I'd go 6 weeks where I could only eat a dried potato, a dry baked potato twice a day. And that's what I'd eat. And then after the drops, that started getting better with just the drops.
With the
And
cell
now that
defense.
Rick has brought the Cell Defender, yeah, we only had the Cell Defender for
Right.
years until, yeah. And so it's so exciting to have Rick and have all these fabulous products. So the plus relief really made a difference to my life because that condition I have, my organs swell inside. And one time I got in Robin and Mark's hot tub and I heated up so bad I almost passed out. I called Marcy. I said, what is wrong with me? She goes, you can't be in the heat. Well, you know what? I love the sun and I can be out in the heat now just since the drops. Isn't that amazing? I tan. I never tanned before. I was so toxic. And yeah, it's just made such a difference in our lives. Our autistic nephews, one of them graduated with honors out of high school, and the one that was supposed to be institutionalized, he graduated from high school, and is just the most wonderful young man. They said he's going to be angry his whole life. He gives us hugs. He asks how we are. He interacts. He's in life. I mean, our family has had so many miracles with Rick's products. And my latest miracle is I got on the cardio at the convention, and Robin bought, of course, a lot for Mark. And so I just grabbed one out of the bag and started taking it. So I was on it 3 weeks, and I had to go for I finally at May, they called me and said I had to go for my yearly checkup. I hadn't been in yet because I don't go to the doctor unless I absolutely have to. And I went in, and I've been on high blood pressure medicine for the last about 13 years. And I know it's because I have 35% scarring on my aorta, around my aorta artery. And the drops help keep that at bay. But she cut my blood pressure medicine into half. So it's only 5 milligrams. And so she told me in a couple months, I could probably get off of it totally. So that's exciting.
That's from April. So that was at the conference the
Yeah.
end of April. Wow.
Yeah. And that was in
Congratulations.
May that I went. It was only 3 weeks
Yeah.
after I got. Yeah. So now she's like, well, keep track of your blood pressure. And I've never done anything like that. So I bought a little blood pressure cuff, and I've been taking it, and it's running 107, and my highest was 117 on the top and 58 on the bottom. And yeah,
Goodness.
so it's amazing. And the eye and mind is just, oh, I just love it. Because ADHD and I'm dyslexic. And, I grabbed that too, right there in the meeting. In 5 minutes, I felt my brain just settle. It was amazing what it did. So I'm thinking, what about ADHD kids? I wonder, we need to talk to Rick about that because it was like my mind took a breath and it
Yeah.
just settled down. And I could just sit through the whole thing that afternoon. It was amazing. So I am, I'm very experienced with the products. I've used them on horses, cattle, chickens, an iguana, all kinds of exotic animals, a snake, a chameleon, um, and a 7-hour-old baby. And that kid he used to, I helped his mom take care of him. She was a young mom. And I helped her take care of him. And so I'd give him drops every day. And he would get to where he would open his mouth like a little bird and ask for them before he could even
Human
speak.
baby.
Isn't
Is
that
a human
amazing?
baby?
Human baby.
Oh,
Human baby. Yep.
oh,
So anyway, I am just thrilled, of course, with all the products. And it's a product-driven company. But let me tell you, all those network marketing companies that I did, and I'm a hard worker, and I did booths for the last 50 years. I've done booths everywhere you can think of. And I've done horse demonstrations. I've done all kinds of things forever. And I never got a check. I never, ever made more than $2,000 in a month. And when I made that, I was thrilled, Well, let me tell you, this company is amazing. I was telling somebody the other day, she signed up and she said, okay, what makes Avini so special besides products? And I said, well, you know how most companies they are like a pyramid? I said, this one isn't. This is like a big, huge circle and a square that anybody can make it to the top of, no matter if they come in 20 years. And that's true. They've constructed our compensation plan to where anybody can support themselves. I mean, really, seriously, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I was taken out of society for years because of my injuries. And then I took care of my parents. And then we moved. And when you move as an adult, you lose your warm market, you lose your friends. I mean, you can't keep up with different places and they don't keep up with you. Your close friends you do, but your markets go away. And so my market is whoever I meet on a daily basis. Because I don't have a huge group of friends up here. I have 4 or 5 really good ones. And of course, I've gotten a few of them into the company, but I had to have my car worked on. It had a recall. So I was wandering a town about 35 miles away from home because we live in the mountains. And my friend and I, we went and they shuttled us over to the little shopping center in that town. So we were hanging out. So we got something to eat. Well, there was a gal sitting at a table when we were leaving the restaurant. And I just liked her aura. She just was a sweetheart. And she said hi. And I said, "Do you work here?" She said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, that's nice." And she goes, "Well, I used to be a nurse." I said, "Really?" So I sat down.
of course you
And
did.
I introduced myself. And I said, "Where are you from?" She goes, "Well, we just moved here." And I said, "Oh, where are you from?" "Up north." And so she was a nurse, and somebody in the family was getting married, and she forgot to renew her license, and she missed it just by a couple weeks, and they would not renew her license. So she cannot be a nurse anymore in California. And I said, "Oh my goodness, well, you like helping people. Well, let me tell you about what I do." So we only had a few minutes and I just quickly told her. And so she contacted me. I texted her and said, "It was nice meeting you." And I didn't push anything. But she texted me back, said, "Tell me what you do." And I said, "Well, would you like to see a few videos?" And she said, "Yes." So last night, that was the day before yesterday. Last night, she texted me and said, "What do I have to do?" And I'm thinking, okay, So I just said, are you thinking of being a customer, or are you thinking of joining us in the business and being part of our team? And she said, I want to do it for a business. So that's just how I operate. I don't, I just go out and find my people. So that's what I'm doing.
That's a beautiful thing, because like you said, you don't have a warm market where you are, but you're open and honest just to share. But I want to back up just for a minute when you talked about the animals. Can you just talk a little bit about the experience with some of the animals? Because, you're talking about a 2,000-pound horse, or, a 2,000-pound, I don't know what type of breed of cattle you're in, but can you just share a little bit about that, how you experienced the use of the products with the animals?
Sure. I just go with what we do with humans. Like if a horse has a wound, we actually, how if it can be bandaged, or if not, we manage to get drops on it, on the open wound. Even if it has stitches, I'll drip it on there, and then we put it in their lip. Just had a horse that had a cancer on its bad cells on its nose.
Yep.
And the gal had tried everything, and my friend took her drops out and she put them on. She put it on her hand and kind of just tapped them. You just kind of tap it on. You don't like rub it in. And then she was giving her the Marcy dose, the Marcy dose every day. And within days, she called her and said, "You aren't gonna believe this. This thing is healing up."
Yeah.
And then we've had, they get wounds in their feet and or whatever. I just go by. Now the iguana, we just gave it a few drops 2 or 3 times a day. I can't remember what was wrong with it. And then my friend called and said her son's the one that changes colors, the chameleon.
Yeah.
He wasn't eating and he didn't feel good. And I said, well, put like 2 or 3 drops in his water every day. And within a couple of days, he was back perked up. So you just kind of play it by ear. I just go by what we do with humans. Like my dog, she probably gets 30 drops a day. I give her 3, and she only weighs 20 pounds. I give her 3 mushroom immunity a day, and she gets the plus relief, and she gets silver at night. So I do the drops in the morning, and then she gets them throughout the day on snacks and stuff. And then I spray her food really heavy with silver at night. So I don't use commercial worming anything anymore.
No, me
At
either.
all.
I use no more.
Uh-uh. I know.
Tell you a quick story. EQ, Eddie knows this story. So I have a cat that got out. Is an indoor-outdoor cat, Sophia. She got out and got her whole face torn up. And like I was reluctant, like I don't run to the vet, I worked in a vet's office, like the whole thing. So I did the same thing. And then I said, all right, I was a little nervous. It was really getting big. Anyway, I called the vet, and they said, you will take her tomorrow at 11. Well, at 10 o'clock, I was talking to Eddie. The cat was gonzo. The cat knew better. Cat could not find the cat at all. So she serviced at 4 o'clock, and I just really got a hold of her and cleaned her up really good. Cell Defender, Nano Silver, beautiful. Now it's all like in 2 days. It's beautiful. So amen.
It's amazing how fast they heal.
Yeah.
How fast and it's amazing how fast we heal.
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing. And the more we detox, the faster we can heal. Definitely. But everybody should be on this immunity these days, because they're going to try and start another one of those things, make everybody not feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm telling everybody, stock up on everything. Make sure you have enough.
Immunity. So let's do this. It's just about 8 o'clock. So, do we have any questions for Glenna? Does anybody want to answer a question? You can raise your hand or comment. Please feel free. We'll unmute you if you have a question or a comment. Hannah, go ahead.
You know, this is for Glenna and then for Chip to help me understand scar tissue, especially you, Glenna, because yours was over the years. It kept progressively getting worse, I'm assuming, because I would think that scar tissue, kind of like the toxicity in our bellies and whatever, it just gets accumulated in there. But and I know, I'm sure you did massage and various things trying to work with it, but just nothing was able to work until the cell defender. So, you know, we hear this a lot, and I'm just curious to hear what Chip might have to say in regards to how the cell defender works with scar tissue.
Good question.
Glenna is certainly one of the, most amazing ones of all time. Because it was, such a drastic thing that happened to her and her baby. And then, a long time later, so she suffered for so long. But what we found is that pretty much everybody, just for example, I'm sitting here looking at my leg, which I'm grateful for the way it works. But I was trapped in a volleyball accident. We were going to a volleyball tournament in Boulder, and a brand new Ford van came in my door. I guess that's a volleyball accident. And they had to take the car apart to get me out. And I don't know if you can see it, but if you look, I don't know if you can see that line right there on my ankle. That's where I was caught in between the door jamb and the transmission hump. And that was all in little pieces, and they screwed it all back together. And if you look at the way that foot moves now, I mean, it hurt for years. I mean, for decades. Every step it hurt. And now, it really isn't an issue. And it felt around, how when you break something like that, your body kind of makes a cast, and it feels like a wooden flesh around it instead of feeling like skin. It's just back to normal, pliable, useful. It's amazing, because you would think that would just get worse and worse over the years. So from Glenna's experience, and then from our own experiences, people will come to you with horrible scarring in their lungs, the tiniest little sacs in their lungs, the alveoli. And when you begin using the product, within a few minutes, the efficiency of your lungs, your ability to use the capacity that you have improves, because you start getting rid of the unnecessary challenges. But over time, as you replace your tissues, I'm using the lung as an example, but every tissue throughout your system, including all of Glenna and all of Chip and all of that person with the lung problem, begins to be replaced with better copies of the new cells are better, and they happen more frequently. Maybe you've heard the term lately, zombie cells or senescent cells. If you're not replacing yourself frequently enough, then you're running on old, worn out cells. If you start replacing yourself more frequently, the stem cell thing, the stem cell differentiation, the replacement of every tissue, you get literally attributes of a younger you, and it should include everything. I mean, it's not, I try to think of ways to tell people, and it's not one thing. It's not just, one thing. It's one thing that changes everything when you get into Avini. And then we have the additional products to go with it. It really is a remarkable stable of products that Rick has brought to us. But he spent a lifetime looking for things to help people, to help them. He was trained to hurt you less or risk less to help you, because he was working in developing chemo drugs. But the question in his mind every day was, isn't there something we could do to help people, to help them, instead of hurting them less or risking less to help them? Why not just help them to help them? What would that look like? And Avini is essentially his lifetime of answers to that question.
Thank you, Chip. Any other questions? Anyone else have a question for Glenna or for Chip?
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Oh no, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi. I have a quick question. I wanted to know, a friend of mine is here, she just point out. I know in the summertime, I retain water. What can I take to reduce that water retention? And I'm not sure if it's called what, edema? Is that what it's called? We think. Edema? I'm not sure if that's what it's called. But what can I take? I'm taking the Cell Defender. I do the Plus Fiber. And I do the Trim Science. I love the Trim Science, the chocolate, and my coffee. Love it. So I just need to know, what can I take additionally to reduce the water retention? And I do notice that I am going to the bathroom more often. I mean, going like I'm going to urinate more often, I should say. Let me just make that clear.
That's good. Well, I know Rick spoke about that on the morning call with Priscilla Pasimio. So if you look in WhatsApp Inner Circle, you can find this morning's call, and he spoke about someone whose legs were accumulating water. And of course, you think about the lymph system, and then it starts, swelling, and then sometimes the water will begin, or the fluids will begin to seep right through the skin if it gets worse and worse. And there may be upstream problems. If sugar is an issue, certainly not eating sugar is one answer. Using Avini products is helpful for sure. And it comes right back to what I said earlier about replacing your tissues with better, healthier tissues so that they're more elastic, and moving. Moving is so important because, we have a pump for our heart, for our blood is our heart, but our pump for our lymph is the big muscles in our legs. And just moving, something like a mini trampoline, a rebounder, or a bicycle, or just raising your legs above your head, or walking, using those muscles to pump everything and keep it moving. You've got water that stopped moving, or lymph that stopped moving, and you want movement as part of it. Avini products, every single one of them are going to have positive effects for you.
Yes,
Okay.
that was a great call today, Deborah. I don't know if I thought you might have been on it, but it is in that back office, and he did talk about lymphedema today. When somebody asked that question, and he went into it thoroughly. So thank you, Chip.
Okay. How can I get on the WhatsApp in the circle? I'm not on that part.
I'll work with you after if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
All
send
right.
you.
Yeah, I want to listen to that part. I did get on, but sometime at work and people come and talk to me, and then I may miss something.
I think this is what the truth is.
Yeah. All right. Where's Glenna? Where are you?
I would think
have
that I would add the cardio also. I think that helps. I really do. I think that helps the whole body. And Rick said it did, So you just add, I think everybody should be on the cardio at least, and the mind and eye also, besides the Cell Defender. I mean, Cell Defender is the foundation, and then we build on that. But his
You're
products
so right. We're all just
so
discovering the cardio.
amazing.
It is amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
It's like undernamed or something. It should be plus everything.
Yeah.
But every product has.
Yeah.
Our products are so understated. Good point, Glenna. Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent point.
So Chip, I'd love to piggyback something on what we just talked about. What I'm finding now is that, I've gotten rid of about 20 pounds since we did the Trim Science. That opened up my I had the blood clots and I got out of the hospital in 36 hours from getting them. And I've had an issue with my foot, with my left foot, where the veins were not crossing over. So it appears to me that my body is not working on one thing at one time. It's just like, okay, we get this part going. We got this toxic obesity moving. Now let's take care of this and let's do something else. But I have got to tell you that I am wearing shoes that I have not been able to wear since 2003. And I have blood vessels that are crossing over my left foot.
Wow.
And the blood vessel
Did
is
that
now
start
going
with-
up my left leg.
Did that start with cardio, Hannah? Do you think that started with the?
No,
Vegas
it
copper?
started before the cardio. It started before the cardio, but it's even believed it's getting better. But it's just
I'm with you. I'm thinking people who were maybe struggling to get the difference with weight loss, even with plus fiber is really important there. Cell defender is important, and then it just so happens Trim Science has the name, but those other two are just as important. And now cardio comes along, and all of a sudden you feel stronger. You feel like you have more of you to play with, more capability. I see Glenna shaking her head. Yes, I know, because I can measure it out here on the water. When we go skiing, I know I'm coming into this season stronger than I have for years. And I think it's those new products. It's
I do
shocking
too.
me, but yeah, exactly. If I'm thinking we're going to get stories like that, people are going to find out that even better, even a greater lift, and it's going to be strength and body composition. The amino acids that are in that new mix are interesting too. But I think it's really something. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, Hannah.
Also, you heal in layers like an onion. Healing is like peeling an onion. And the more longer you are on it, the more you do. I mean, I've been out 2 to 3 days a week this last couple months since we got home in April, weed eating. And I live on a hill. And I noticed I'm stronger, my core stronger. I got more balance. I broke my arm last year. It kind of slowed me up. I couldn't weed eat. So I got weeds as tall as me out behind my house. And so I've been cleaning that out. But it's just amazing your endurance. And then when you get all hot and sweaty and you've been working out in the hot sun, and you come in and you have oh my goodness, what do we drink for?
Hydration.
Yeah, hydration. I
Yeah.
come in and take the hydration, and oh my word, yeah. And my muscles aren't sore like they used to get. And man, it's amazing. We're all getting younger by the day.
Amen. We love it. That's it.
Pat Tracy's on, and she was telling, she got out and she got after, I don't know what they were growing by her place, but it looked like she started carving her way through the jungle out there.
Great. Oh, that's great. Good for her.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing these amazing stories. And Chip, I just want to tell you, I have the screws and bolts in that left ankle, in my right ankle as well. And now, come to think of it, you know what you just said, that's what I'm experiencing. Like, I used to get up and be so stiff, like it's like back to normal. Like, it's amazing. So I tip fib, screws and bolts and plates, but back to normal. So.
And it's so cool, to be here at the moment, because when you're gradually getting better, it's a lot easier to adjust to than if you're getting worse. And when all of a sudden you hear a testimony and say, oh, apparently that happened to me too, and you didn't even realize it was happening. But then, it's nice to get up in the morning and not have to limp the first few steps, isn't it? Isn't it wonderful?
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
So, Christine, we've got Novella. She has her hand up.
Okay, Novella, welcome. Where are you? I don't see you, but go ahead and ask your question. She's muted, honey.
Oh, I didn't realize I could unmute myself.
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, I do have some questions. I have and I wanted to say something. So I've lost over 30 pounds within over the last few months. And and it was funny because when I came back from the conference, I was taking the cardio. I actually like stopped losing weight, right? But fortunately, I had took on measuring myself. And interestingly enough, I stopped the pounds really slowed down. But man, I'm getting, the inches is coming off, it's crazy. I'm not arguing, I'm good with it. But the thing that I wanted to, and the other thing is when I swell or when the water, me and Nikita, we have a mantra. We have a question we always ask. Every time we say we swell, we got a headache or anything like that, we always say, how much water are you drinking? Have you drank water? Because whatever water you drinking, whatever you need to drink more. So if you're somebody who drinks a lot of water already, which I was, it's just like drink some more. And so if you get a slight headache, if you just drink more water, just take the case that either is a hydration or for some reason you're not getting enough water, just drink some more water. And you'll find that's what I find, that all of a sudden the water starts, the extra bloating comes off. But the question I wanted to ask was about the plus relief. And so there's that scarring, there's the whole thing with the cobra and the taking away the pain and all the rest of that. But is there another component there? Is there like the component of reducing inflammation or something? Is there something else besides like taking away the pain? Because I've been trying to read up on it and give people information, but I just wanted to get really clear about exactly what that was in the pain relief in the
So Alan Way actually asked that same question earlier today, and I think he's on with us tonight. And so I'm practiced. Thanks, Alan. Interesting thing, Novella, and I got to ask you right quick. With your transformation, are you finding that your mobility, your ability to move around, is coming back in a wonderful way? Is that part of what you're getting?
Yeah, and also the thing about it is that I got up. It really has me, thinking I can do stuff that I really shouldn't be doing. I got up yesterday and I was watching this YouTube video and they were dancing, and I don't know, it reminded me of that my youth or whatever, and I jumped up and started doing it, and I was like, my body was like, oh hell no, no, you you can't do that yet. And but I found that like it's the desire is there, feels like I can do it, and I was doing it. I'm actually hopping. I haven't been able to hop in years.
Oh, that's great.
Exactly. And that's what I was hoping for. And you said it so eloquently. Guess what? You should be doing those things. And what happens is your mind thinks, oh, I would like to, step over that, or I can walk across that uneven surface, or I can go up those stairs, or I can step over that fence, whatever it is. And every cell in your body comes back with an answer. So yeah, you could do that. Go ahead. Or no, don't try it. You're gonna kill yourself if you try that. And you're getting yeses, and you're not used to getting yeses coming back from your body saying, Novella, go ahead. You can go, hop, or you can go dancing. And that is a beautiful, the way you said it is perfect. So on the inflammation thing, plus relief, yes, it works on the chemical switches in our nervous system, but the receptor side it works on, miracle of miracles, happens to be also on the surface of the biggest immune cell, the macrophage, and it's the one that decides how big of an inflammatory response we're going to have. Remember, when everybody was getting sick, it was over response from our immune system, inflammatory response, that was causing the wrecks with people. So we don't want to cause an angry response. We don't want to have no response. We want to have the proper response. And that's the type of inflammatory response. Obviously, it's useful if it's done properly.
Wow.
All the products are going to have an effect. That just happens to be the mechanism with that one. Everything else we've talked about tonight is also reducing inflammation. And so I want everybody to hear what Novella said tonight, and her daughter Nikita was there. Dr. Nikita, you know, I'm sure she's watching her mom, right? And that
Yes,
has to be encouraging to her, I would think.
Yeah.
absolutely. She called me and told me, you know what, Nikita, I hopped. I said, what? I hopped. I was in the kitchen cooking and I just decided to hop. And I was like, what? Oh no, for real? I said, are you okay? She said, yes, I'm great.
Oh,
But
thank
it's
you so
amazing.
much.
The other thing that I want to say is if people, you know, there's some people, especially like younger people, whatever, and they say, oh, I'm not getting anything from the product or something. I know myself. And what happened though is that I started telling them, do something different. Do something that you haven't done in a long time. As you know, it's you'll see, you know, just try something different. Do something that you hadn't been able to do. Try to do something different, because that's when they're going to see that there's something happening that they didn't even know was happening.
I'm telling you, Novella, talk just like that. I mean, that you don't have to be, you know, Rick Deitch, the biochemist. That's a practical expression of what happens to you. And that's what you should demand, that kind of thing. Everybody else thinks gravity's getting worse. Novella thinks it's letting up a little.
Well, we may have to call this call tonight the title, Gravity, No More. So anyway, we're getting close to time, and I just
to say,
Glenna, I'm sorry, Glenna.
Pat.
Oh, Pat, go ahead, Pat.
I just wanted to make a quick apology to Chip because I was trying to get back to my chair when he mentioned something about me and the hydration product. Because I did have about 3 hours out in 108 heat index when I did that, and I came in and just poured down the hydration, a couple bottles of it, and you know, it's awesome stuff. One final thing is Deborah, when she asked about the call this morning, it hasn't been recorded, but Rich has put it, he mentions it's on line 61 of Avini Health Training.com. So that's where she needs to look for it.
Line 61.
Okay, so,
And
so
that will change.
this is starting to happen, and I have to call attention to it because everybody knows Pat a little bit, and what I'm beginning to see in people is there is another level of transformation. You tell me Pat doesn't look different tonight. You know, Pat, you look better tonight.
Yes.
Boy, I have had one hellacious excuse of French day. I mean, I have hopped in a handicapped thing that wasn't handicapped, so I had to hop on one leg and trying to hold on the walls to balance me. I mean, it was insane. And then
But you did it, for goodness sake.
But then I'd like to never got back up off this little teeny tiny toity they had, but because they didn't have the bars where they needed, they were way the heck up, and I'm like, now how do you figure out how to make this work? You know, so I eventually did, and I hopped back. But man,
That same thing again. Your body's asking every cell of Pat Tracy, how the heck do I get out of this predicament? And you came back with an answer.
that I keep putting it in. Right.
Great
But
job.
Pat, you were cutting down branches with just your crutches and one leg? Is that what
yeah,
I
I
read?
had a computer out there and a chainsaw. And pulling vines and cutting down trees and cutting and sticking my head in with those big nasty cactus, and so I had to trim all the tips of all the cactus so they wouldn't hurt me further or somebody else that might, you know, come through the yard.
So we saw
And
those
a
pictures
chainsaw.
on
Chainsaw
WhatsApp.
Tracy.
A chainsaw. Can you
Chainsaw,
imagine?
that's right.
Crazy.
All right, everyone. Glenna, you are our guest tonight, so we give you the closing words tonight, words of wisdom, parting words. And I just want to tell you, today we had some amazing announcement because we have some sample packets. So we have some sample packets that are going to be available in your back office, and this way you can even share more of what we
Yay.
have, these amazing products. But Glenna, you have the floor, so give us some parting words, and thank you for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. This was fun. You guys are a great group. Just keep sharing the love and the knowledge that we have, that we can help people change their own lives. And that's what we are asking people. Are you ready for a change? And everybody is. We're all ready for a change. We want life to be different. Well, it starts with our own bodies. So
Well, thank you,
That's all
Glenna.
Thank you,
got.
Glenna. You're always awesome. Thank you for coming to the
you.
call.
Thank you,
Thank
Glenna.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks for
Wow.
having me.
Great.
Thank you, Glenna. Thank you,
Love
everyone,
you.
for being here. And we'll look forward to seeing all of you next week on Avini Vibes at 7:30. And Carol's got this.
All right.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night, Glenna.
Great meeting. Bye.
Good
Bye.
night.
Real.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye now. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Glenna. Thank you.